Today we'll discuss one of the coolest Zerg players from Wings of Liberty, a guy who always seemed so happy and positive you couldn't help but share his emotions and get excited together with him. A player who would pioneer many unique Zerg playstyles and also one of the first foreigners to put up a good fight against Koreans. Today we'll take a look at Dimaga's journey in StarCraft 2. Before coming to StarCraft 2, Dimaga established himself as one, if not the best player from Ukraine in Brood War, winning events like WCG Ukraine 2008 and also coming in second place at DreamHack 2009 in Sweden. That experience gave him a kickstart in Wings of Liberty beta, and he very quickly made a name for himself in the early days of StarCraft 2. His playstyle featured a lot of aggressive moves, and he was also heavily using banelings. It sounds obvious, but back in the old days many Zerg players relied mostly on roaches and links. Dimaga was progressing with a really high speed, and in fact he was even invited to the first BlizzCon in 2010. There he managed to get as far as the 4th place, ultimately falling to his countrymate, Whiterun. His success was further cemented by many victories in weekly cups, and eventually he was invited to participate in one of the most prestigious events in 2011, GSL, which also organized a special show match called Korea vs the World, featuring the very best players from all regions. However, soon it turned out that the Korean team was slightly better. The score would soon become 7-5, and foreigners had only one hope, and that would be Dimaga. He had to face July, a Zerg player who just scored 4 victories in a row and seemed absolutely unstoppable. But this CVZ match turned out to be pretty interesting and back and forth. At first Dimaga lost the initiative because of worker damage.
Oh man!
But later he managed to strike a perfect timing attack when July only started switching to more expensive Hydras and didn't have a +2 upgrade on his units.
And we might be seeing an attack here. Dimaga's spreading out. Those Hydra's gonna deal insane damage. Dimaga's gotta get closer, get those roaches all dealing their damage. He has a lot of roaches here. And, well, the Hydra's dealing a lot of damage. Can Dimaga break through here? This is the moment, Tasteless. He keeps on rallying roaches. He's still got 28 roaches.
Yeah, that's
oh my God,
I can't
Dimaga
believe my
breaking
eyes.
through.
He actually, he's with us. That's GG.
And, well, Julyzer's still making roaches. He's not giving up, but the drones are coming out. That means a lot. His 2-1 upgrade's really doing a lot of damage.
I can't believe he's doing this despite having to have absorbed that Baneling attack.
Tasteless, he lost a lot of drones to that, but Dimaga has played his heart out, and Julyzer in a lot of trouble. Even if he ends up holding this, which it does not look likely, he's going to be down to just 34, and GG!
Unbelievable.
The next opponent would be none other than MVP, the Wings of Liberty legend himself, a guy who would later be known as probably the most successful player for the first 3 years of StarCraft 2. Mark this moment because we'll get back to this name in our story sometime later. The map was insanely large because it was Tal'Darim Altar, and by the way, check out our video about maps to learn more about this side of StarCraft 2. But back to the game, it was a cherry on the cake. Such a nice, beautiful macro game.
Dimaga going for it! Just a small force up there. MVP at 190 supply, 200 now, both of them. He's got to get a fungal off, and he's having a hard time against these kiting marauders. Those infestors have got to get more fungals off.
They're not doing it, too.
They just don't have the energy. They're just below the right amount. And he goes into planetary range. Do not want to do that. That one battle cruiser causing insane trouble. And MVP starting to get really cost effective here, unfortunately.
You do not want to be going against the planetary there. He needs to get the planetary to the upper right.
That he does, Tasteless. That he does. Dimaga may be able to hit the other side of the map. Oh no. Oh no.
But then it ended with a disconnect, and yes, in Wings of Liberty we didn't have the ability to restore a game from a replay, only a brutal rematch from the very beginning, and life was really hard back in the old days. But nevertheless, the game was very close and maybe MVP had a slight advantage, however they now had to play the same map once again. This time, Dimaga prepared a special surprise for MVP.
Speed Bane's on the way. Oh my god! 29 Banelings morphing! That classifies Tasteless as so many Banelings!
You know what's funny is we were joking about Dimaga's one of the few guys who will just Baneling bust all the time, like some of our best Korean players.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that now.
All right now he does have 41 Banes, Tasteless. A lot of more Zerglings on the way. This is getting pretty scary, though. There's a lot of, well, let's just watch it. So many Banelings just piling in here. And Dimaga is going for broke, Tasteless. A lot of Zerglings piling in. SCVs being taken out. A lot of Banelings left over.
My God,
Does he have this? He's killing so many SCVs. A ton more Zerglings on the way. And he is in at the barracks.
That's it.
It is looking like MVP is going to be eliminated here. Oh my God.
And then MVP mixing it up. You know what? Dimaga should have lost that rush start. Everything was going against him, but his decision-making is just so good.
It was perfect, Tasteless. And bam, that's going to be it. Dimaga is going to take out MVP, and we are going to go to the final match, the God of Zerg against Dimaga.
It's going to be Nesty against Dimaga. GG.
The score got 7-7, and it was time for the final boss, Nesty, the best Zerg player in the world, an unstoppable machine that would prove too difficult for anybody to counter. Dimaga started with a link pressure, which didn't do enough damage, and later he made the same mistake July did against him, taking up to Hydras too early. For that he was punished by Nesty, ending the last hope of the foreign team.
Nesty just streaming in. These Banelings are going to be very important, Tasteless. Very, very important, Tasteless.
All right, he gets the Banelings back.
That is a lot of roaches with +1.
He has not got the drones out.
And who will be able to win this? With those Zerglings coming in, Dimaga's in a lot of trouble. He is backing up, and it is looking pretty bad for Dimaga, I have to admit. GG.
There it is, GG.
Still
That would be the end for Team All-Stars, but not for Dimaga, as this GSL also had a normal bracket format with 16 players. And guess what? Dimaga matched against Nesty once again. It was time for his sweet revenge. But did he have what it takes to defeat a champion? The first game played out similarly to the previous game we discussed, with Nesty just overpowering his opponent with roaches. However, on the second map Dimaga went for a crazy and rare drone rush that caught Nesty completely off guard.
And perhaps getting a spine crawler, but Dimaga making a spine crawler. And how are you going to live through this, Nesty? We will see.
I think Nesty's actually dead, man.
He might be, Tasteless.
Crazy all-in strat.
Going after those drones. Normally, if it's just the Zerglings, the drones can live through it. Look at that. There goes the spine crawler. He's making as many Zerglings as he can. Going through, but that's not going to be enough. His drones, not enough drones right now to do something like that. And canceling off that spine crawler. Nesty going to lose his first game of ZVZ on TV, Tasteless.
Unbelievable. It's all about that spine crawler.
And he's actually just running through to counterattack with that spine crawler in there, Tasteless. This is not looking good. Goodbye, Nesty.
That's it. Expect GG here.
Goodbye, Mr. T.
1-1.
And Nesty no longer undefeated.
The third game happened in a similar Zerg mid-game fashion, and Dimaga managed to outplay Nesty with some link micro and risky droning in early mid-game. The rest of the battle was heavily in his favor.
It's a pretty scary amount.
It is a pretty scary amount.
Oh, that's so smart. Is he actually just go over here? That's so smart because it makes your opponent get his army out of position.
Oh man, but Dimaga not engaging with this full army. Hitting a lot of overlords right now. That's allowing his roaches to die to ST's roaches. He's got to be very careful about that.
You want those roaches to stay alive.
Oh my god, he's at 182 supply against 130. Will Dimaga break through Nesty? Will he beat Nesty in a best of 3 ZVZ? This could be absolutely the biggest upset that we may have ever seen.
Yeah, this might be the biggest upset, at least in this tournament, at least. And it looks like it's happening.
It is happening, Tasteless. Dimaga is taking out Nesty in a ZVZ series, a best of 3. And that is it, man.
Dude, Dimaga's good, man.
It is now 164 supply against 59.
That's
GG!
GG, we just witnessed it.
Dimaga moves on to the round of 8. Look how happy he is.
So this way, Dimaga became the first person ever to beat Nesty in a ZVZ matchup. Unfortunately, his run didn't last for too long, as he was then stopped by Sand with a 3-1 score. But anyhow, this was a big milestone in his career. The next big stop in 2011 would be Asus Rock Summer, a really prestigious European tournament. It didn't feature the best Korean players though, but there was still a tough competition. Dimaga made it out easily to the playoff bracket, and in his first round he faced TLO, who, by the way, played Terran instead of Zerg. The German legend used to switch races multiple times in the past, from random to Terran to Zerg, and then back to random to Terran race, and then eventually settling with Zerg for good. Anyway, let's get to the matches. First game went quick with Dimaga dispatching Terran's bio, but for the second game TLO brought some mech boys and managed to hold strong against any Zerg attack. It all came down to the last map, where Dimaga once again took the initiative and won several engagements with Mutas and Lynx. The next was Elfie, and Dimaga confidently crushed his Finnish opponent, proceeding to the next round where he met Stefano. Back in mid-2011, Stefano was not yet the beast he would become just slightly later, and it was an interesting battle to watch. If you want to learn more about Stefano, check out our story about him. But what's really cool, Stefano was inspired by Dimaga when he started playing StarCraft 2, so it was sort of a master versus student fight. It was a tough series, and Dimaga still managed to overcome his French opponent with a close 3-2 score. In the finals, Dimaga met Mana, a Polish Protoss player who was probably one of the best European players in Wings of Liberty. This was also a very uncomfortable matchup for Dimaga, but as he said in his interview,
I don't like to play versus Protoss, but right now I understand that if you have like many infestors and many broodlords, you can do it versus Protoss, you know, in late game.
Here come the Broodlords once again, and that's a lot of Blink Stalkers getting in there, really aggressive right now, throwing it in there, and the Fungal Growth in combination with the Corruption is a lot of damage, but not against +3 Interceptors. There's the pounce, here is the killing blow right here from Mana, who will take this first game after a ridiculous engagement. GG!
for what could have been the last third game, Mana picked a late Immortal Sentry push, and Dimaga constructed impenetrable defense to stop it.
Oh, that was very nice. It could have been a lot worse, but it was still good. That is a good selection of units just picked up for free right there, and Mana with an excellent engagement, and Dimaga probably a little annoyed that he left those lying around.
He is indeed annoyed. He does have a lot of infestors which are going to help out, but this attack is coming as the greatest spire finishes. Will Dimaga get Noodles that time?
There's the quick blink right there, getting very aggressive as he jumps right onto those infestors. Big fungal growth on the right flank right here. Mana's force isn't actually that big. That said, Dimaga doesn't have an awful lot for him either, and Mana is not dying.
Infestors are good though, so they're cleaning this up quite nicely. Spine Crows behind that. 16 Lynx, 17 Roaches are about to pop out as well, especially from the third hat-trick. Will be leaning damage. Corruption spell onto the Immortal, but now the reinforcements of Dimaga are going to come down.
Yeah, and very quick flick once again. Mana smashes apart two infestors incredibly rapidly, and Dimaga going to town on this. The problem is he's still lacking in numbers, and those Immortals are going to rip their way through. One taken out, that one's got Corruption on it as well, so lots of damage, and that has now been repulsed. And that base for Dimaga stays up, a solid defense.
Dimaga holds again. 4 Broodlords are in the making, and Mana basically is going now. He needs to try to do as much damage before Broodlords are made. More Stalkers are coming in. He doesn't know where the Broodlords are yet, but he will find out very shortly.
Yes, he will, because they're going to land on his head. He will not like it. Dimaga looking for a surround right here. He doesn't really have the unit count for it though. And Mana, excellent Blink Stalker micromanagement. Down goes the hatchery. And will he be able to keep this alive even more? No, because surprise, Broodlords coming in. Unfortunately, they're out of position. 1 down, 2 down, and Mana wants to clean this up completely, but he will lose his entire army in the process.
I mean, that was a nice trade from Mana, to be fair, getting rid of all those Broodlords. Oh, yeah. The last one just survived, but 32. Still, the economy is so good for Dimaga.
The comeback was real, and for the next map both players got the late game, where Dimaga managed to get an advantage and crush Mana later on.
Bringing those queens in to transfuse that as well as anti-air power, but the engagement right now is very messy right here for Dimaga, who is having to engage against 2 Colossus. He's bringing a large flanking force of Roaches. A warping actually prevents them from getting there. Very nice play there by Mana. More damage coming in from the Queens, who are trying to fend this Colossus off. One falls, and Dimaga continues with this really aggressive pressure.
And these Queens are transfusing each other. They're just staying alive, and it looks like Dimaga's going to melt this entire army, prevent that third going up. This one Colossus is under threat as well, and is going to have to retreat. And now Dimaga looking in absolutely fantastic shape.
He absolutely is, and he's got to follow this up. He will not let this go. He's a dog with a bone, and he's got 45 Zerglings coming across right now. There's the cancel, and once again, contained now on 2 bases as Dimaga has full run of the map.
This way we got to the final game, and it was kinda lackluster to be honest. Both players were quite passive, but Dimaga took the initiative once again and pulled out 2 brilliant attacks on Mana's third base.
Here comes the High Templar, but it's not going to be enough. They're not going to be quick enough. Some feedbacks go up on those Infestors, but there we go, a huge amount of Infested Terrans landing on there, and big pressure coming in. Does he have the Brood Lords yet? He does not. He's continually smashing his way into the forces, covering his opponent in Infested Terrans. Mana's army melts, and the third is, without question, annihilated.
And Dimaga is getting a little giggly over there. I can see him relaxing a little bit. He knows he's doing so well at the moment. Mana trying everything to stay in this game. This is all or nothing right now.
Start there, very slow, but unstoppable rampage, and it's close to upgrade, helping an awful lot. Here's the massive spread.
This was without a doubt a big milestone in his career as Dimaga became the best European player. The title that would unfortunately soon get away from him, but for that moment he was the strongest guy in the whole region. At the same time, the scene was getting more competitive with each month, and soon both Europe and North America would see a big influx of South Korean players. For the rest of 2011, Dimaga's results were solid, but with no big breakthroughs in any premier tournament. But that would change in 2012 as esports was coming to Ukraine. IEM was organizing a prestigious event in Kyiv where Dimaga would be the home crowd hero. This event was also much tougher than Asus Rock because now he had to face MMA, Hero, Xenia and some legendary European players such as Grubby. However, Dimaga cleared any obstacles in his way, advancing from the first place in the group stage. In the playoffs, he got a lucky seeding facing a Russian Protoss player Pomi. The thing is, he was much easier than other possible opponents as he was more of a part-time player. He also did lots of casting, took many interviews and he even interviewed Dimaga during this event. Anyway, everything proved to be much more complicated. While Dimaga managed to still advance, it was very close and he once again started with a 0-2 score facing elimination. But this could tell us a few things about his playstyle and character. Dimaga was a tough nut to crack, he would not give up and lose hope, and that would be one of his biggest advantages. He was a positive, happy person who would always energize others alongside him. As for his gaming side, Dimaga was capable of playing everything and he was definitely not averse to risk-taking. He, however, struggled against particular playstyles and matchups. In the next round he faced Kaz, another Ukrainian player, and Kaz was known for his insane practice ethics. In Russian and Ukrainian community there was a catchphrase, when you sleep, Kaz is practicing. That was on point because Kaz was nicknamed the Machine for the insane amount of games he had on his main ladder account. Here is just a regular screenshot of Kaz and his incredible ladder record. But quantity doesn't always mean quality, and it was fair to say they were on the same level. Kaz was also known for his macro playstyle, featuring large mid-game and late-game marine armies and insane production at home. This was probably his weakness as well. Zerkrace felt a bit more comfortable in the late game, and on the last map Kaz let Dimaga reach all the expensive technologies and gather an army that was too much to handle. So Dimaga, the hometown champion, was in the finals against none other than MMA, legendary Korean turn player. This time the odds were not on Dimaga's side, but the first game showed that perhaps Dimaga could crown himself as the Ukrainian champion.
I'm not sure if he watched the games of Dimaga against
Dimaga's going to catch the whole army out of position, immediately surrounds it, the siege tanks will fall, MMA's in trouble, Kev!
Baneling's getting a perfect detonation of on all those Marines. The crowd is actually going nuts. I can't hear myself, but I can hear them.
And here we go, no siege tanks anywhere
so
in
many Banelings rolling in for Dimaga.
No chance that MMA holds this. Here come the Banelings, and Dimaga is going to win this first game. There's no way around it. GG!
Wow, Dima.
1-0 MTW to
Moving out, he wanted to be aggressive. Look at Dima. It's hard not to smile when everybody is going mental all the time.
Coming out once again, great micro by MMA. We would expect no less. Hasn't lost a single Marine.
Well, he lost 3 units this game, 3 SCVs.
GG
Dimaga calls
from
GG.
Dimaga. MMA will be the champion for the Intel Extreme Masters Global Challenge Kyiv, taking down Dimaga 3-1.
In Europe, most Terran players favorite a more meticulous playstyle, with great attention to mid and late game, looking towards big engagements, army positioning and good economy. Korean players, on the other hand, were known worldwide for their aggressive, domineering playstyle, which, on the contrary, featured a ton of pressure as early as possible. Combined with great multitasking and micro, it was really hard to deal with constant drops, Hellion run-bys, benches and whatnot. The victory was stolen from Dimaga. Nevertheless, the second place was a great achievement, as Dimaga once again proved to be one of the best European players, falling just slightly short of MMA. The next few months were mostly online cups, but almost half a year after that second place, Dimaga embarked on his next big journey, DreamHack Jönköping in Sweden. This time let's cut our story short and jump right to the finals, where, surprise surprise, Dimaga found himself in again. He was indeed a brilliant player, and just like in the past, he would face Mana, who was looking for his sweet revenge. However, this time Mana came much better prepared. He grew as a player and got significantly stronger, as, for example, eliminating Stefano in the previous round. It is very important to acknowledge the balanced state of the game. If you want to learn more about it, check out our story about Wings of Liberty balance, but to make it simple, Zerg race was much stronger than before. However, it was Dimaga's worst matchup, and on top of that, Protoss race had many surprisingly strong all-ins, such as the famous Soul Train. As for the late game, everybody knew how dangerous Vortex and Archon toilets were, so Protoss players had 2 options to grab a victory, either by being aggressive early on, or by trapping Zerg army in a different dimension. Mana picked the first road to victory.
But here comes the Lings and the Banelings into the third. Is he gonna fall for it? No! All the Banelings get stuck in. He might be able to stop the third, and he does. He comes in from the back, even more force fields coming down, and Mana holds again.
Oh my god, Mana's making this look too easy.
To sum up, the first 2 years of StarCraft 2 were looking amazing for Dimaga. That same year he got married in August. Whether it's the reason or not, he also missed the WCS 2012 and didn't even participate in WCS Ukrainian national tournament. The rest of 2012 went okay for Dimaga, and now everybody expected him to shine in the new game. But times got much harder, more players, more competition, and on top of that, 2013 was the year when the scene got even more cutthroat because of new Caspa players transitioning from Brood War. GSL was overcrowded with amazing and talented players, and now you would see Korean players on every single premier event across the globe. WCS Europe 2013 would therefore feature many Korean players. The new system allowed you to participate in any region, providing you have a residence there, and many Korean players choose to play in Europe. On top of that, European scene also was growing stronger. It was an amazing show for all StarCraft 2 fans, but a really difficult challenge for Dimaga. The first group stage was certainly doable for him though. The only question was, is there a chance to overthrow MVP, the Terran legend from Wings of Liberty? To give you a scope on how great he was considered the best player of StarCraft 2 at that time, something similar to Serral or Maru nowadays. It was very one-sided. The group stage 2 was much harder for Dimaga, up to a point where he almost faced elimination. However, Dima was able to recover and met Forzane in the last deciding match.
Counter coming in. Counter coming in. That's a lot of Zerglings. He could do the damage. He could even up things quite nicely here. He gets those Hellions. A great move here by Dimaga. There's nothing actually in that bunker either. He engages fully with SCVs. This is kind of catastrophic here for Forzane. He's already lost 10 workers. He's lost 15. He's lost 18. Dimaga's killing off a lot here.
Oh my god,
It's 46
Dimaga.
workers to 25.
One move could have just put him into the Premier League to keep him going through to the round of 8 here. Marines, it doesn't matter really if that goes down. The amount of damage he's done to the SCV line, SCV's going off. Thorzane drops to 40 supply. Dimaga with one swift counterattack. Thorzane with one mishap not to have the supply depots up, or at least pull them up in time. Okay, Baneling speed is going to be the big bang, the big firework that Dimaga wants to end this series with. Stim!
Oh my god,
Thorzane
Stim! He's
needs that!
Oh dear me!
Stim!
If anything was gonna keep Thorzane in it, it was gonna be Stim, but now
35. And the wall is open once again.
I mean, the wall's open. Dimaga doesn't even need his fireworks to finish this game. He wants to finish it with Baneling speed and a big Baneling Roach bust, but it doesn't matter. The door's open.
I cannot
no
believe
Stim.
it.
Only 1-1 upgrades versus 2-2 Roaches. No Medivacs, no tanks, no mines, no... Okay, one tank, but... He is in so much trouble, Thorzane.
Supply blocked as well here. Thorzane, the only way he can produce units is if he loses them. That command center is going to burn down unless he somehow, some way gets it back by an absolute miracle. Infestation pit, Hydralisk Den going down. 16 drones behind all of this. Dimaga knows he is in a commanding position. The two siege tanks are going to try and hold on, but the Mutalisks fly in, trying to pick off one. The second one goes down to the Roaches as well. All there is left is Marines. GG, well played. Dimaga is able to take the series after a blisteringly crazy game number 3. And that means we have our third Zerg confirmed in the round of 8.
All right, let me just tell you what happened. Dimaga was getting beaten up game after game after game. He couldn't find a way to beat Thorzane, and then bam, counterattack, and he's in the lead. One single move pushed Dimaga into the round of 8. One single move keeps him relevant in the WCS.
Now was the time to maybe once again become the champion of StarCraft 2. His next opponent would be Happy, a Russian rival, famous for his worker-free past and thus insane microcontrol. This was an important battle for the whole Eastern European community, as that would decide the best player from that region. The matches were really close, but it was the last game that went down in history.
Alright, so you need to defend against that. You can't just bring all your units to defend against the attack and not leave anything for the drop here. But as absolutely Happy, ideally wants to kill the drop, but Dimaga's ready!
Whoa, those Roaches come in from two sides perfectly. The Widow Mines are not burrowed, they don't have drilling claws either, so that takes a lot of time. So much bio dies off so quickly. And Dimaga now, army supply, 116 to 56.
Oh, and all he needs to do is morph one Overseer, and all the Widow Mines will die there. He has to keep up the defense in the main base, of course, and off come the drones to try not to lose anymore. But Happy at 106 supplies, now getting that +2 armor. Oh dear, Claris. Uh-oh.
Unit counts, 25 Marines, 1 Marauder and 4 Widow Mines against 53 Roaches. If he now pushes in here, and he's going to bring down that bunker very, very quickly. He needs all his Roaches at the front as well. He's just going to buy some time, pull back a little bit, wait for his Roaches to come along.
Dimaga, is he going to go into the natural? The SCVs are there to tank damage. A lot of SCVs will go down here. Happy's going to take the fight. He knows that he has to do something, otherwise he could lose his third, and that's disastrous.
He realizes he's in a lot of trouble here. He's even spreading creep so he can actually retreat out of position as well. He brings in a few Roaches from the other side. They're going to focus down those Marauders, really limiting how much damage Happy can actually do. All of the bio has to get picked up. He's going to take out the third as well. This is really, really bad for Happy.
2-2 upgrades for Dimaga. A massive supply lead for Dimaga here as well. Widow Mines do defend a little bit, but Hydralisks are coming in now with their upgrades, especially against the lack of +2 army here. Dimaga could do it.
He's getting groove spines. I think maybe even muscular augments would be better here, considering now that he can keep his opponent on the back foot constantly. Roaches powering on forwards once again. There's really not much to increase the longevity of these Marines as he tries to keep himself stable, but the Roaches power on forwards. There's really not that much bio left. 14 Marines, 5 Marauders. The Roaches completely ransacking the natural. 145 supply to 67. Happy is on the back foot.
Happy rings the emergency bell here because he's now starting to drop. He realizes that if he just sits back, he's going to die. So he's going to start dropping on the right-hand side. Dimaga's not mining from this 4th base, but he's going to lose his drops to the Hydralisk. This is massive for Dimaga. One goes down.
A perfect position for Dimaga. Takes one down. The one where it does evacuate, but now with those Hydralisks plowing across the map, he can continue to put on the aggression here. He's going to bring a few units back to clean up this drop.
The other drop gets picked off and Dimaga stops. The emergency bell is no longer ringing because there's nothing to actually do.
128 army supply against 35. Dimaga powers into the natural once again. The command center tries to land to kind of seal this off, but it's not going to work. The Hydralisks march on for victory, and Dimaga against all odds. GG! He takes the first quarterfinal here in WCS Europe Finals, and now he secures himself a spot in Korea.
Wow, look at that excitement coming out from Dimaga. He's so happy with that victory.
That was a tough game. We talked about it at the start of the series, we mentioned it.
Dimaga was getting closer and closer to the coveted first place, but this time he once again faced MVP. Dimaga had already knocked him down in the group stage, but it was obvious that MVP would be prepared this time. However, looking at Dimaga's record and his victories over the best European Terrans, Happy and Forzane, it seemed absolutely doable for Dimaga to advance to the finals. Unfortunately, this was not meant to happen.
But he loses a few of the Vipers in the process. Some of the Vikings did end up going down to those Hydralisks. He's going to try and power on forwards once again. Not that many units to actually tank for these Hydralisks though. He's going to lose a lot of Hydralisks here. I'm kind of worried about this because MVP moving in from the back catches all of these units with the siege tanks. And I can't help but feel equalizes things up a little bit.
Yeah, but Dimaga is so rich anyway. Yeah. He wants to remax behind this. The problem is the gas. Dimaga has not been doing the best job of mining from all the gases that are on his side of the map. Pretty clever. You mentioned it. He will only trade energy for actual units then.
Yeah, and he should abduct some of them. No, he's just barely out of range. Oh, he catches one of them. And a few more as well, but doesn't kill off that many in the end. The Broodlords are really causing him a big problem though. He tries to move on forwards, tries to focus one of them down at least, but he has to trade fully with these Corruptors right now. Even missile turrets helping out a lot here. So this battle is going to be so back and forth, but another great snipe out of one or two of those Broodlords. Tries to micro on back. The Vipers move on forwards here. They get killed off as well. The Hydralisks on the ground are being obliterated by siege tank after siege tank. And slowly but surely, Dimaga is getting worse trades, but he has a great bank.
Yeah, look at the bank. Yeah. MVP is broke behind this. This is his last army. He's trying to scramble any unit out he can from his...
Hunter Seeker missiles. Oh, he throws down PDDs instead here to try and soak up what he can whilst engaging into this army. The siege tanks all on siege as well. MVP right now, army supply 108 to 40. He could actually go on a march.
He's gonna hold it, looks like. Oh, he has to be careful against this Corruptors. He needs to get those 4 Broodlords. They cannot...
He's chasing it away. There's nothing Dimaga can do actually to save all of this. The Corruptors are going to go down.
26 Mutas.
Oh, the Muta switch. That could win him the game right here. To pull back.
Whoa.
Once this actually engagement comes, he throws down a few Hunter Seeker missiles on the entirety of these Mutalisks. He catches, oh, some of them go down. How many are actually left here though? Unit counting station, 21 Mutalisks still remain. There's not enough anti-air for him to deal with this. 4 Vikings and 2 Ravens remain. 5 Thors are in production. He needs these Thors out now to deal with this. Otherwise, this army is laid bare to waste. The missile turrets fall as well. Dimaga, playing out a 40-minute game, is now on the verge of pushing all of this back, but the Thors pop.
Yeah, and 16 Mutas are left. There is only tanks against those Mutas.
Run away! And his army is still extremely strong. He throws down a blinding cloud, a lot of those siege tanks. That's going to negate so much of that damage. MVP has to micro out of that whilst all the ground army chases him down. Are these Mutalisks going to live long enough here to kill off what they need? There's 8 Thors left out on the field. Unit counts for the Mutalisks, 15 left. 6 more Thors left here. Oh god, it's so close. Dimaga, still, he's down in supply once again.
Wow, and Dimaga, what composition does he go for behind this? He's got only, well, he's just made up his mind. He's going for Ultras and lots of Zerglings. He doesn't have the gas to keep on making Mutas or getting Broodlords here. And Dimaga is expanding on MVP's side of the map. I might have said this before, but that's going to be a very important one here.
Yeah, it really is. Whoa, the Zerglings, they're going to get roasted up by those Hellbats pretty darn quickly. He repositions his Ultralist. That was a fantastic move there with his ground army. The Mutalisks are actually going down in numbers very rapidly. There's only 6 Mutalisks left. 11 Thors still remain. The Blinding Clouds are not actually soaking up the damage. And MVP has killed off all of the Ultralisks. He killed off all the ground army. The Mutalisks are going to go down.
Yeah,
the
no
army
Vipers are left.
86 army count to 6 in favor of MVP. Oh, but he's going to get this base. No, he's not! Stop doing this to me! And actually start berating them very quickly, but the Queens are going to keep them alive for a long time. Those Broodlords are just not going to die. The Hellbats are trying to kill off a lot of the Zerglings here. And you're right, actually, the ground army for Dimaga is not connecting with all of this, but the Broodlords are still alive. They're still raining down havoc on this army, but their Thors are just not dying either. Ultralisks and Roaches dying from the south, but Dimaga is slowly but surely killing off the remainder of MVP's army. Army supplies, there were 64 to 65, but Dimaga he could make a lot of Zerglings at least.
Yeah, he could go for some roaches as well. He goes for 1 ultra, some roaches, some zerglings, and 7 queens here.
7 queens. I mean, why not? Why not? It's going to help him out.
Oh, some queens moving out of position.
Well, denying the gas is very good anyway. He will be able to get that.
No,
and the
Hellbats.
Ultra. Whoa, that one Ultralisk there, not accompanied by the queens. Did get some transfuses off it and saved it eventually. But now there's a big mineral bank up here for MVP. He's getting nothing but Hellbats.
And Dimaga remaxed somehow. He's getting 2 more ultras. This might be his last army here.
The army values are very, very close. 121 supply to 113 in favor of Dimaga. He's going to push in here up to the north, but now he loses the army supply advantage. The Hellbats, they're holding strong down to this bottom position. The Ultralisk needs to stay alive. He needs to keep transfusing that Ultralisk. It needs to stay alive. It doesn't. It goes down. And that was tanking a lot of the damage here from these Thors. The army supplies are in favor of MVP against 68 to 81 in favor of MVP. I'm losing all cognitive not actually going to work out at all. Those roaches here, not really going to do much. An abduction from the Thors. The queens surround it, have a little bit of a hula dance, but that is it. The Thor ends up falling, but this army is going to march on to victory. And the spines, spores, roaches and queens, not destined for this world. And MVP, through all trials that Dimaga could throw at him, it wasn't enough. MVP kills off the remaining forces of Dimaga. There's nothing behind this. This has to be it. This has to be the end of game number 2.
Unless those roaches can kill the
There you go. GG. Game number 2 goes to MVP.
Wow, he can't believe it himself, I think.
Wow.
It really looked like he was going to lose at any moment there, but every single attack was held by him.
GG, and see exactly how Dimaga reacts. We're just in the end game here. Dimaga. He's like, just can't break it, guys. Just can't break it.
And MVP was just smiling.
I guess he saw it over the monitor.
After WCS 2013, Dimaga's career went downhill pretty fast. It happened because of many factors: balance, competition, tough matchups, and whatnot. It was true not only for Dimaga, but for many veterans of the scene who simply couldn't keep up with the fresh blood and Korean bourgeois, and it was now a catch-up game from that moment on. In the next 2 years, he was not able to accomplish any significant results in premier tournaments, and while he still was one of the best players of Eastern Europe, it was far from the success he once had. Eventually, Dimaga retired in 2015, but that was not the end of his story. Even though his team announced his retirement, he never really stopped competing and became more of a part-time player, trying his best at the very least in local events and online cups. The local scene both in Russia and Ukraine was growing rapidly, and people such as Alex, a famous Ukrainian caster, were organizing a lot of events with prize pools. Dimaga would either play in them or cast them. His reputation was impeccable. He was loved by the whole community both in Russia and in Ukraine, and he was still playing really well. His story is special to me as well because he was my favorite player from StarCraft 2. I grew up watching his games and copying his build orders, up to a point when I started competing myself, facing Dimaga in online tournaments as well. Dimaga's legacy is of a grand scale, as he was loved both as a versatile, skillful player and as a happy, warm person. You just couldn't help but cheer for Dimaga. His early victories, his friendliness towards fans, everything is worth mentioning, and he was an amazing professional athlete who you could take as an example. As the time went on, he would do more streaming and casting, relying on the support of Ukrainian and Russian viewers. Everything seemed great for Dimaga, and it could have been a happy end for this story. However,
мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
Russia overnight launched its long-anticipated attack on Ukraine, striking military posts across the country. An unprovoked war in Europe is now underway.
besides the implications of war and suffering, there was also a big collapse of the Eastern European scene. Before 2022, ex-Soviet countries, Russia, Ukraine and Belarus, were part of a common scene, with fans and players rooting for each other no matter which country was represented. It all came to an end, and the whole scene got torn apart. The immediate consequence was a mutual hatred between fans and players. Alex, a famous Ukrainian caster, lost more than 30,000 Russian subscribers over the course of 3 months. Dimaga switched to Ukrainian language on his streams and casts, and also lost a chunk of his Russian fans who previously donated to him. Dimaga still occasionally competes in StarCraft 2 tournaments, but he doesn't stream as often as he used to. He still lives in Ukraine, and at the time this video is gonna be published, he is not serving in the army and he is relatively safe, as safe as you can be in a war-torn country. You can find his socials in the description of our story. That's the end for this video. Thank you for watching, and let me wrap this up with the last clip of Dimaga against Flash.
As he's attacking now, he looks like he's going to attack with his 3-3 over 2-2. Flash is prepared, Flash is spread out, but it doesn't seem like he has the numbers here. Is this when Dimaga beats Flash 2-0?
It looks like it, Apollo. He has 0 Whittle Mines. He may have 15 medevacs, but only 4 Marines right now. And Dimaga rolling to victory. GG. Dimaga takes out Flash. Oh my god.
And of course, he's happy and everyone's clapping behind it. A big win here for Dimaga. And of course, the DreamHack Open Bucharest. What a big win for him in Group Stage 2. 2-0 over Flash.
I'm just really happy that my plans works, what I was preparing for this. So yeah, I'm really happy about this.